All right. Looks like we're up and running, I think, here. Just confirm. What a day. Another interesting day in the markets, man. Really fascinating stuff. So I'm down, I think, about 50 across everything today. Solana took a hit. Then evidently, network outages with like 75% of the transactions not going through. Hearing that's FUD, but that's fascinating too. And it looks like a lot of that is probably bot transactions. I'm waiting for my buddy Invest Answers to clarify some of that since he's probably in deeper than most people I know. But yeah, let's see what got crushed today. So Tesla, but I bought heavy into this. Shouldn't say heavy. I bought pretty heavy. I think I have about 310,000 in June 2026 calls right now. Why aren't I buying CLSK? I want it to drop. I bought MicroStrategy today. MicroStrategy is down 10% right now. So if that keeps dropping, I'll be buying more of that. CleanSpark, what was CleanSpark? CleanSpark was only down 1.86. So that's just not interesting at that level. I want to see if there's more pain coming. So that's kind of my thought process around that. But yeah, let me keep rolling here. So PayPal up about 11,000 on that. That was good. SoFi was good at about 8,200 up. A little bit of Square action going up. Again, though, between Tesla and then a lot of Bitcoin related investments like Solana getting hit today, and then MicroStrategy really getting pummeled later near the end of close here, down 10.24%. And then again, CleanSpark down almost 2, Cypher down about 2.28. All of these are getting hit. It makes me glad that I have money. I've got about 300,000 left right now. Still going to be taking it slow. Probably was more aggressive today with Tesla than I was normally thinking I was going to be. The FUD that came through for Tesla, yeah, I mean, you got to buy MicroStrategy down to almost 11% right now. It looks like it closed. I almost want to buy more right now, but I'm going to wait. We'll see. Now it's down 11.35, so it's getting crushed. The shorts are winning for today on MicroStrategy, and I think that's okay. I think that that's perfectly acceptable. They can win over the short term, and I will buy into this dip because I know that premium is going to come back monstrous. So I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, probably down about a little over 50K, I'd say now, if this number ends up hashing out the way it is. But I have no problem with that. This is why I got cash. I wish I would have been slower to deploy it. But again, I've got over 300,000 left, and I'm going to keep grinding away here, and I'm going to try and buy these things, at least when they have double-digit down days. And Tesla did in these options for a while. Tesla got hit pretty good. Right now, it's saying it's down about 10% on the option, and that's great. I hope we get more of that. I hope it keeps going down. And all right, so let's go here. So I actually did do more transactions than this. I bought more, and I screwed up on this one. You'll see it. Somebody pointed out that it said sell 1,000. I meant to buy more, not sell more. So I made up for that, and I bought a little bit more later. And I bought more Tesla, and I don't know what else closed because if you've ever worked with Ally Invest, sometimes their screens just don't work. And so for most of the second half of today, it's just not functioning. So I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, so I did do more transactions than this. I bought more MicroStrategy, maybe even 40 to 50 grand worth of MicroStrategy today when it was dropping, and then I also got more Tesla, a decent amount more actually, probably like I don't know 15 contracts in total. It only shows 4 here, so I did pretty good on that. And I got Hood when it was down like 3-4% on the day or something, and that closed about flat, so that was pretty cool. If you look at the markets don't look bad, but we did have a thing where it looks like it looks like it started to degrade later in the day. So the day looked good, but then again, you can kind of see a slow sell off happening in the afternoon, and obviously the big winners today were large caps. They were the ones they made up for lost time. But Tesla got no love. I don't know if you guys all know this, but Tesla, there was some FUD that they were going to basically stop production of the Model 2, and then Elon basically called it out as bullshit. It was from Reuters too, which is kind of sad. It's sad that you can have something like that come up and have it not be real. I did make some tweaks to the stream. Hopefully it's still good. If you guys could just confirm that the video is still tight and the audio is okay, that would be awesome. But again, if we look at crypto got crushed today. Solana was down like 6.5% at one point because of those reported outages with 75% of the transactions, which it sounds like 95% were bots. So it might have been garbage anyways, but the team is working on it and trying to resolve it. And this is, Solana is more centralized than most chains, and more centralized. I don't know. It's arguable on whether or not it's that way with Ethereum. It's definitely more centralized than Bitcoin. And so you're going to kind of get trade-offs where you might have network outages. That's a thing that's went on in Solana's history as far back as I can remember. It's actually way better now than it used to be. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for confirming, man. So it's just one of those things you got to live with Solana. And I think that they're going to be really aggressive and make sure that, this is resolved. And it's, by the time this really starts to become news and people start fretting about it and fudding about it, it usually goes away. Mac equals insane sound video quality unlike you've ever shown, dude. It is so much better. And it's a portable. It's so thin. It's so tiny. And I've got like 8 desktop windows open. One of these is a 46-inch monitor. So this is no fucking joke. And it's still just, everything works. Everything works perfectly. Blows my mind. But yeah, you can see some Bitcoin, I'll argue, it did try and come back today. And let me see real quickly. I'll try and, I'm just going to jump into another screen here. I do want to show Bitcoin is still remaining resilient. And I think it's just because we're almost 13 days from the halving. And so I don't know. It's really remaining strong. So if we look right here and we zoom in a little bit, even though we have bearish divergence still, and it could go down, and I posted something earlier like, hey, it might go either way. Not sure where it's going to end up. You can see where we're trying to ride on these peak volumes under the local profile. And we're still above it. So it's fighting. It's trying. We'll see if it can maintain it, though, because the day doesn't close for the crypto world, doesn't have a daily close like regular traditional markets. Traditional markets have a close at 3 p.m. Central Time. And so you'll see all the indices in the United States close at that time. You don't see that with the Bitcoin and crypto world. They're 7 o'clock right now, based upon daylight savings time and time of year, all this stuff. So they're 7 o'clock right now. As they shift into summer, I think it switches to like 6. But so they have, the day hasn't closed yet. So that's the thing you got to keep in mind. So we'll see where this lands. But it's trying to keep up. I still have a hankering that we're going down and that I'm going to be able to deploy more cash and that I wish I wouldn't have bought so aggressively already. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. S&P closed up 1.11% today, which isn't bad. It's a decent bounce. It got us back above the fib. We want to see that. So that's a good weekly close. I mean, if you look at this on a weekly close, you got the wick down here, and then you stayed above it. So if anything, it looks like you'd kind of want to bounce into that. Now the NASDAQ does not look that way. It kind of does. You're above the 50. You found support on the 50 moving average on the daily, but you're still underneath the golden retracement zone, and you've got the bearish divergence. So the NASDAQ looks more bearish of the two. And the Russell, like I said, the Russell's going to have strong support on this fib, the first fib level. And it closed up 0.47%. So it didn't go, it was actually the weakest performer today. And I'd like it to be the strongest. But on a recovery, you're probably going to go into the safe haven stuff like NVIDIA and Microsoft. And so after a steep drop, it probably makes sense that people are running to the big, large caps. Now, one thing to point out on oil that I don't love, it does look like it's closed the day down 0.14%. But what I don't love is it's still above our previous trend. So it's still heading in this breakout zone. And that is not great. Aloha, Jesse. Oh, yeah, I'll look at that one, Henry. Let's see. Love the Mac. They've come so far. Yeah, it's really a great computer, man. I love it. But yeah, so I don't love the fact that oil prices, hopefully this little wick here on the end will be a signal that we were finding a top and that we can go down further. I don't know, though. We got summertime coming, and then there's all these things going on in the Middle East and just in Asia. So maybe it keeps going for a little bit. If it keeps going, I think that's going to apply pressure on the markets. Today, not so much. Markets actually bounced pretty good after the economic data, but I do want to review it and give my take on it. Dollar started, it looks like it was up 0.09%, but again, it's staying under the 100, so that's good. I'd like to see the dollar roll over. If it does that, it means the market's probably recovering. And the fear and greed index again, so we got a little baby bounce here, but we're still just barely in the greed territory. So that's probably good. We were in neutral yesterday, which is kind of a reset. We'll see if we drop down into fear or do a broader market drop like I was talking about in the S&P and NASDAQ. But so far, this looks bouncy, and the week closed pretty good on all these. All right, let me see what I got else here. Oh, yeah. Let's go here. Let me get this in screen. So I wanted to bring this up. I want to bring up, we're going to go over the economic data right now. So used car prices had their second largest percentage decline in at least 25 years. And I've been calling this for the last couple of years. When used car prices were up 50% year over year back after the pandemic, when we had the chip shortage, like that, anybody who bought a car around that time was just crazy because they're literally, paying 50% more for a vehicle than what it was before. And so you knew eventually that was going to break down, right? But I think one of the things that's important to note is this is another sign of disinflation, as we've had our second worst reading for a month here in at least 25 years, going back as far as I could find in the index. So, and if it keeps dropping, it'll be the worst in at least 25 years. So this will apply pressure to both new cars and used cars, right? This isn't just going to affect the used car market because we have high rates and people do pay higher rates when they get loans for used cars. So that can be problematic. But used car prices are dropping substantially, and that will lead to new, and there's going to be a glut of them, right? And so you'll see further discounting from companies trying to get rid of them and just unload inventory because they can't sit on inventory. It's incredibly costly for them to sit on inventory. So I think you'll see something where inventories build up and used car continue to. They've been building up already for months, quarters. But I think we'll see a continuation of that. And as that happens, we're going to see more pain in the auto sector. And obviously, we already saw a lot. BYD had 43% sales declines, and Tesla totally missed their what people were expecting for their deliveries. So I think that could get worse before it gets better. So I'm not too optimistic on what we're heading into with Q2. I think there could still be some damage there, but I think by the time the quarter's over, maybe it gets better, especially if we start lowering rates in June, which the odds of that have actually dropped a little bit. We'll talk about that. All right, so real quick, just looking at the data that came out today outside of the used cars. So we had an unemployment rate that came in lower than expected at 3.8%. That's what I was worried about. That actually came in good. Looks fine on the chart. We had strength in the employment sector. We had 68% of the growth in the employment sector was under leisure, government, education, and health services in that order. We don't want to see government growing a lot. We saw government payrolls increase a bunch down here too. If you look right here, they expected forecast of 20K. We got 71. We'll look at that more in detail in a second. But manufacturing payrolls too were down pretty significantly, showing more weakness in that sector. That's not surprising. We've been talking about manufacturing and industrial getting hit. So basically it was flat, whereas they expected, consensus and forecasts were 5,000 and 7,000. So that kind of sucks. It sucks to see that kind of weakness. Manufacturing is a pretty big driver of our economy too. I mean, real estate is a big driver. Manufacturing is a big driver. And the auto sector is a decent one. And all of these are kind of frozen, right? Which again is my argument for why rates will need to come down in the future. But yeah, so let me see. So we'll look at some of the details here. Let me go back. Let me see what's most interesting. Non-farm payrolls. This is a big highlight today. So let's jump into that. So again, if we jump out here, I keep forgetting how trash this data is if you go out too far. Yeah, the pandemic just destroys it. I almost wish they'd normalize it. So again, we had our highest read basically since the pandemic times, right? So this was a good number. It says the U.S. economy added 300,000 jobs in March of 2024, the most in 10 months, compared to a downwardly revised 270,000 in February and forecast of 200K. January data was also revised up, so employment in January and February combined is 22,000 higher than previously reported. Now, there is something I want to say here. Some of this jobs data, I'm going to look at in a little bit here. Actually, maybe we'll just pull it up right now. So some of this jobs data is actually deceiving. And a lot of you probably already know that the jobs data is deceiving, but it's important to know why. So let me just scroll down here. I want to show this to you. Okay, so this came from Zero Hedge today. It says March full-time jobs, negative 6,000. March part-time jobs, up 691,000. So that's interesting. So we're looking at this and we're saying, hey, things look stronger in the economy because jobs are so strong. But when we look at it, is it the healthiest level of strength when basically all of the growth is part-time employment? Would you call that a healthy economy when people are either A, getting part-time jobs and not full ones, or B, getting secondary part-time jobs to substitute whatever they're getting in their regular income? I don't know that I'd call that the healthiest of markets. And there's something else you want to see here too. And let me just zoom in again so I can make this a little bit clearer. All right, so there's another post here too from Global Markets Investor. It says, correct, from November to March, the U.S. lost 1.8 million full-time jobs. In the last 12 months, the U.S. labor market has seen a 1.9 million increase in part-time jobs, while the full-time jobs count declined by 1.3 million. Headlines, U.S. adding jobs for 39 straight months. So what they're saying here is that basically where we're seeing growth all the way back to November is in part-time employment. And there's some things that we're fuzzy on right now. And I watched the CNBC interview today. I probably should have got the clip up. It was talking about how, well, actually, they just straight up asked, I forget who it is, but whoever works at the White House that covers employment-related data, I forget her name. They asked her, they said, hey, can you give us some details about where, we know that there's issuance of part-time visas to people that are illegal immigrants that are coming into the country. Can you give us numbers behind it? And she said she could not. So I'm wondering if a decent amount of these part-time jobs that we're seeing, which really appear to be the bulk of what our increase in employment is, if those deal with illegal immigrants, and I don't know when we're going to actually be allowed to see any of that data, but we are granting work visas to a bunch, and I think that's helping. I think that's deliberate, because if you think about it, if you want to avoid wage inflation, allowing a bunch of immigrants into the country, I wish it was legal immigration. I think that would be healthier for our country, because it would actually benefit us across multiple sectors of the economy, not just the low income cohort, and make it to where like manufacturing and transportation and like lower skilled jobs, ones that were ones where they could give it to somebody who would accept any kind of wage, would take that employment so it can keep wage inflation down, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we're filling high skilled labor, and we have a shortage of high skilled labor. So I really would love it if we could focus on a path towards legal immigration and controlling illegal immigration, because I don't think it's healthy for our economy over the long term. But I do think, from what we're seeing here, it is helping, at least in regard to the unemployment data. And so over the short term, it makes us look stronger, but I wonder what Jerome Powell thinks about this. What does he think when he looks at this? He's probably got an idea of how much of this is part-time, right? Like, he can access the same data that we have in front of us. Even though it might not make the headlines, he knows the truth and the reality, right? So maybe he's sitting there thinking, yeah, a bunch of part-time employment, that like this is definitely helping from the inflation front. And so even though I know the messaging that's going out there to mainstream media is that we've got a really healthy economy because that's the narrative and that's what helps us get reelected. Not us, but whoever the president is. So he knows that's the narrative that obviously the White House is going to drive. And I'd say the majority of media, it's just the way it works. I mean, the media is mostly liberal, just to be clear. And I'm liberal and conservative. I've voted both ways throughout history numerous times. I'm very middle of the road. But you have to realize that the media is incredibly slanted towards the left for the most part, outside of sites like Fox News, with people on the right don't even watch anymore. So you got radicalized sides, but the media is mostly towards the liberal slant. And then you have obviously other sides of that that take completely the different spectrums. And then there's some that are in the middle. But so I think that we're getting a misconception on the data here. If we just look at the data, we're not getting the truth. And I think it's important to know that the job market is maybe not as strong, or it's being propped up by immigration, which again, over the short term, that can actually be a good thing because it helps keep inflation at bay for wage inflation. But there's other ramifications that come from that, especially when you're having to help house. I mean, if you think about it, think about being in the lower income cohort. You're in the bottom 1/3. You're not watching micro to macro because you don't have money to invest. You don't own any real estate. And you've got immigrants that are taking your job because they're willing to do it at a lower pay scale. And the interest rates on like new cars and anything else is really hard. And it's going to become harder to find housing, and potentially rent could stay higher because you have an influx into these communities. So things are going to get weird. Things are really going to get weird, guys. I think it's just important and that you don't fog, whether you're on the right or the left, don't fog up your view and your vision of what's actually happening for good and bad based on your politics. Don't do that. It's just a great way to lose money, or at least not to have the full picture and make bad choices. So ignore that stuff and think about what's actually happening. Now, all right, so unemployment rate. Again, it's really close to the lows. It's not a bad number right now, and it could stay that way because again, if we've got a bunch of immigrants coming in, like I think what is it? Since Biden's presidency, it's like 8 million or 9 million is what we're talking about. It's a huge fucking number. Huge number. So if we're giving work visas, we don't even know what that number is. This will help with the inflation part. And kind of what the thought I was going to finish earlier is that I think it could be a drag and help keep down things like this. Average hourly earnings year over year. If you look at this, we're going down. So we're going down in this number, and I think that's going to continue to happen. So we had a huge surge during the pandemic. We were still high in 2022, but we're going down pretty good. Normal would be like closer to 3%. If we kind of 2.75, 2.8, I think we're trending that way. And I think with what we're doing with employment and all this part-time employment and all these visas that are getting granted, I think that's going to continue to come down. That's the point I want to make sure that we're getting across. Now, participation rate is a fuzzy number because I don't think this incorporates people that are illegal but here on work visas. I'll try and double check that. But as far as I know, it doesn't. So this could be ticking up the participation rate and making it look higher than it actually is. But it's good for the markets to see this number go higher. And we're getting back to a more normalized path to where we were before. So that's a positive, right? All right, so let's look here. Government payrolls ballooning. You probably have to have government payrolls because government's getting bigger, so they got to go up, right? But yeah, if you look here, the trend in government payrolls, look at this. Before, even if you look at like right after the pandemic, it was mostly back to the mean, right? Like the zero mark. But look at it from 2023 on. Government payrolls just are all above. It's just going up, right? Like this is obviously well above the mean of zero. And I think that's just going to keep happening. So again, this is going to help. This is going to help some data points, but it's important to know that the government is propping up employment and payrolls to a greater degree. I wouldn't argue that it's a huge amount. It's a decent amount. But again, you got to realize that this is what's happening, regardless of your politics. Now, manufacturing, it's harder to look at this because they do the month over month stuff. But if you look here, in manufacturing, we got 0K for growth on here. We were shooting for 7 to 5. So again, like I said earlier, not a great number. It's just lower than expected. We had kind of what we thought was a boom in November, December, and January, but it was kind of declining. And again, October was not great. So we're not seeing manufacturing really doing great, and new orders and stuff like that have been slowing down. So that's not going to help out either. All right, non-farm payrolls private. So this is the private sector. Now this actually looks good. God, I wish I could actually look at these. So this, I shouldn't say good. It's decent. Like it's decent, right? If we go to the 5-year here and we look down here, you can see how it's right about towards the norm, going back a ways. Like it's right near the norms. It was really elevated in 2021. And then a little bit in 2022, started to decline. Now it's just kind of almost flatlined, but it's decent. It's not a bad number. So again, it's not just government payrolls. It's not there's private sector employment that's happening too. But remember, don't forget that a huge portion of this is part-time employment. It is very important to understand that. Very, very important. Lots of people have 2 or 3 jobs these days. Is it possible they're counting? Yeah, depending upon, yes. And so there's 2 different kinds of jobs reports, and in one of them they literally count. Like if you have 3 jobs, then it means like 3 people are employed. So yes, but yes. So some of the reports do count that way again. So yeah, it makes it look good. And again, like this data doesn't lie. The growth in March was from part-time employment. And what I want to know, what I would love for our government to tell us right now is how much of that is work visas for people that are coming over the border. So I'd love to know that, because that, again, it just gives us an idea of what we're going to be looking at in the future. Because there's problems that come with this, right? When you bring in low skill labor, these people don't come with tons of money, guys. They're not coming here to spend. And again, I have no problem with immigration. I think immigration is great, and it's what's made this country wonderful. It is what we were founded on, and it's great that we're a melting pot. I want to see more of it, but the problem is we make legal immigration impossible. It's so hard. I've had friends that have tried to come over here. They're rich and they're skilled, and they can't come here. But if they came from the southern border, they would probably get some Visa gift cards and be staying at, a 3-star hotel in New York City. It's nuts. And it means that what we'll see in the future is we won't see a massive amount of retail spending that comes in from this immigration. Whereas if we had a better balance of skilled labor and, lower paid labor, that we would be able to have a more diverse profile of the spending and what's going to happen in the economy. Right now, it's like we're going to have more government related spending, more trying to subsidize costs until people can find jobs, higher rental prices, and potentially housing prices staying higher for longer. Because again, we haven't lowered rates. So that's applying pressure on these sectors. And then when you have illegal immigration too, you're just going to make it to where it's really hard for the bottom cohort to find homes that are affordable or even rent that's affordable. So I'm not optimistic about that, but we'll see. Things can change. We need to if people are here, they need to be employed. I think that's the gist of it. We desperately need people to work, but at the same time, we need to shut off the valve, because if you look at parts of Europe and some of the massive migration that happened there, over the last decade, it has not been healthy, and it's destabilizing. If you let too much migration happen at once, it is destabilizing for a country, and you don't want that. You want to control it. So I hope we do more of that. I did want to point out, now that I'm off my soapbox, I did want to point out that the CME Fed Watch tool is no longer 2-to-1 for rates getting lowered in June, even though I still do believe that we'll do that, because I think Powell is smart enough to know what this data actually represents, and that he knows that he needs to lower rates before we have problems. And if it's not June, it's July. But it's more like a 1-to-1 ratio. It's only like 52% lowering and then 48 not. And then July is about 75% chance of lowering. So again, whether it's June or July, whether it's 6 weeks or 10 weeks, I really don't give a fuck. we will be lowering rates. And but I'm the same guy that said it was happening in March, and I got proven wrong there. But I also didn't factor in illegal immigration. I did not look at the fact. Plus, I thought that they wouldn't allow them to have jobs, and that's the narrative that I had seen, is that these people are coming across the border, but because they're illegal immigrants, they won't be able to get employment. That's not a thing anymore. Again, we don't know how many work visas are getting issued, but it's a lot more than it used to be. So got to figure all this stuff out. Got to figure out what the reality is and what the real numbers are represented here, because we just don't know. All right, so real quick, I wanted to go over a couple of other things that I think are going to be important. Let's talk about some Bitcoin stuff. Let's talk about some Tesla stuff. And thank you guys for spending some time on a Friday with me. I know people got other things to do, so I really appreciate it. All right, so a couple things. My friend Crossroads had mentioned, hey, it sucks that oil's climbing, but this might be beneficial to Tesla as gas prices go along with it. And I think that that's actually probably a pretty good, accurate statement. And here, real quick, I want to do something else before I jump too far into that. I do want to start making this a part of it too. I want to look at the commodity prices. So today, uranium up 4%. Congratulations to my friend Derek Quick. He's probably very happy about that. Up 75% year over year. Gas prices across Europe and the UK up substantially. Not great for them. That's going to put downward pressure on a lot of other stuff and their ability to purchase, and it's going to suck. Again, propane is up right now. Ethanol is up today. And again, we're seeing some trends where the stuff's ticking up. It's not great. We're seeing people going into gold more again. That's a little concerning because it's not driven by economical factors. It's driven by concerns of risk. And then across the ag sector, we're seeing kind of a mixed bag of nuts. It's up and down. But again, if you look in here at the year over year, the thing I'm starting to hate, or even the monthly, the thing I'm not liking as much is we're seeing stronger numbers up here, like cocoa, which is going to lead to coffee prices. This is crazy parabolic and just absolutely insane. So all of 2023, like starting at the beginning of the year into 2022, I was telling people, guys, you're crazy, chill out. Inflation isn't that bad. These prices are actually dropping, and they did that most of the year. Now I'm saying the opposite with some of this. We're seeing these rise, and I don't love it. I don't love it because base costs go along with them, especially with energy, and that can compound and go across multiple sectors. I'm hoping it doesn't last long, and I still believe it won't, because I think there's so much disinflation going on that we're not seeing. Stuff like the auto sector and what I just showed you, how bad that's getting hit. We're seeing lowering of prices. We're seeing price pressure to the downside. And so I think that will continue to happen, and that's why I hope the Fed is smart. But again, so oil going up, though, it's an argument that it might help Tesla. I also wanted to cover this real quick. The dollar. The DXY is not dying, at least not right now, and it's definitely not going to be replaced by the won or the ruble. So this is from a guy, Michael, and what I like about what he's showing here is that it shows, I don't know how much you guys have been paying attention, but there was a lot of big narrative, I think, especially the end of last year and over the summer last year, about BRICS. It's like BRICS, 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 people joining BRICS, doing BRICS. And it's just a nothing burger. BRICS has been shrinking. The Belt and Road Initiative from China has been falling by the wayside. If you look, there was an image I saw a while ago, months ago, that had each year for the last 3 or 4 years showing how the amount of people that were at their summit got smaller and smaller and smaller. It's eroding because these countries can't pay back China. And China, for the most part, and most of them built fucking trash that's falling apart. And so it's not even financially beneficial to these countries. They thought it was going to be, but it's not. So you got to realize, like, this whole narrative about the dollar getting weaker. Look at this in the dark blue here. The dollar is at some of the strongest levels it's been since the 70s. The 70s, as far as U.S. equities approach mid-20th century dominance. So this is the dollars. Is this the dollar or the equities? Did I pull up the wrong one? Yeah, no. It's in regard to the dollar, though, as trade. So we're at some of the strongest levels that we've been seeing for a long, long time. And that's something else I wanted to touch on. It's not going away. All right, let me see. Not great for broader markets over the short term. Yeah, this sucks too. So bar chart pointed out that we're seeing a golden cross where the 50 goes above the 200 on oil. So this is on the futures contracts for May. But that sucks because if it keeps going higher, again, it's going to apply more pressure to the markets, which is why I'm glad I've still got some cash. Now, I did want to go down here. This is Seth Golden. He's talking about how he said when markets don't have a pull, or when a market doesn't have a pullback of consequence for many, many months, when a pullback finally arrives, it proves short-lived as momentum more quickly produces oversold conditions. So I would agree with that. And you're seeing it right here. It's showing that markets are reaching oversold conditions quicker. I don't know if today's the bottom though. All right, real quick, wanted to talk on Tesla. So we're looking at Tesla trying to discount prices more as their inventory is piling up. And I did an image on the inventory here. Let me grab that real quick and see if I can find it. Yeah, right over here. Let me pull it in. So inventories for Tesla are going up. Now, these aren't crazy numbers. If you compare this to legacy auto, I wouldn't say this is a crazy number. But you can see the obvious incline, right? And especially since the beginning of April. So across all of these models of vehicles. So this is going to apply. So we know that the used car sector is getting beat up. And then at the same time, and we know that their inventory is growing and we know their prices are plummeting. And that we're seeing, that trough is probably going to be there for a while because of what happened with the large increases in the pandemic. And then you have inventories building up across new cars. If you drive by dealers, check out a dealer sometime. Let me know if you see a bunch of empty parking spaces. I'm going to bet that you don't. In fact, these guys have overflow. I watch a couple of YouTubers that specialize in new and used cars, and they're just like inventory. They've been saying this for like 6 months, almost a year. Inventory continues to pile up and pile up and pile up. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens from all of this. But again, something to keep an eye on. I think this could maybe keep Tesla price, to where it keeps dropping for a little bit. And I did want to show quickly on Tesla. Oh, and I might have to pull that up. I'll do that here in a second. I want to talk to one more thing here. There you go. I guess I had a clip of it too, of just the inventories climbing. And maybe that was the last. Oh, no. Real quick, before I jump into the other Tesla talk, I did want to say some things with Bitcoin. So Australia. So on top of, here's some great stuff for Bitcoin, guys. On top of, Korea looking to have an ETF, on top of Hong Kong looking to approve like 7 ETFs, on top of Brazil approving an ETN not too long ago. There's dozens of other countries that are interested in Bitcoin ETFs. And now Australia's first Bitcoin ETF is going to go live this year. It's going to go live after the halving, which sucks for Aussies. Because they're going to be able to throw their retirement funds in Bitcoin after the halving. But hopefully it's quick enough where they can benefit from the future upside from what the halving does. But this is good, right? It's good for Bitcoin to see this. Let me see. I thought I had one more. Oh, and I did want to say, right now, I took away my portfolio allocation piece because I'm still waiting on my PC to get fixed, and it had the file on it that had all that broken down. And I don't want to I got to recreate it on a Mac, and I'm hoping I can just do an import and get it on whatever the Mac version of Excel is. I don't even know. I've got to figure that out. And then I'll start updating this again, and I'll pin it back in my profile. But if you see it missing right now, it's so out of date right now, and it doesn't represent what I have for my allocation that I didn't want to keep it there. So I took that down. And again, for the people that didn't know it, I don't know if I said it yet, but the Tesla FUD here that we had earlier in the day went away. Oh, no, that's a different one. I don't even have it there. All right, so let's move on. Let's go into stocks real quick. So I'm going to hop over here. I want to look at Tesla first because Tesla's finding support. And I'm starting to look at comments now, guys. So I'll try and get caught up on those here real quick while I load this. All right, so let me do this. Google Sheets, my man. On Mac? Is that the best one on Mac? All right, so let me do this from a couple of views. I'm going to zoom out a little bit because I want to show. So first off, we still have a bullish divergence on the RSI, on the MACD, down on the daily time frame, even though we hit what could be maybe a W bottom on Tesla. So from a technical standpoint, we're holding this line. Again, the week just closed here, guys. So we're holding this line. I still think there's a decent chance it's so close that we could go down to like the 146 and close this daily gap over here. But we're so close to it. We're so close to it. And Tesla's market cap, I mean, Nvidia's like $2.3 trillion right now, okay? It's like $2.3 trillion. And we're looking at Tesla at $525 billion. So it's like almost getting to 1/5 the market cap of Nvidia. I don't think that's going to last long. The one that shows you volume shelves on the right-hand side, Andrew, that's the visible volume range profile. It's the VRVP. You need premium trading view to get access to it. It's incredibly valuable. And you want to change the row size to 1,000 to get it to where it looks like this. Otherwise, it's more blocky. But it's great. Number for Mac. Okay, thanks, Spencer. I appreciate it. But so I think there's a decent chance we could bounce into next week. If the markets, we're in this big if zone right now. Are we going up? Are we going down? I don't know which way we're going to go, but I got a feeling we're going to figure that out real quick next week. We're either going to start breaking some technical levels to the upside, or we're going to see further downside at the very least by Tuesday of next week, probably Monday. So we'll see what happens with that. And let me just check real quick. I want to see what economic data we have on Monday. Consumer inflation expectations. That's nothing. So we got nothing on Monday. And then on Tuesday, we've got business optimism index, which again is just a poll. We've got retail sales with the red book. And that's it. So we don't really have any real data until Wednesday of next week. So it's going to be more like geopolitics probably next week that drives the market, and whatever narrative MSM, mainstream media is pushing out there. That's what we're going to end up seeing. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting though. There's so many technical charts that want to break one way or the other. So we'll see what happens. Maybe we don't see something until Wednesday since there's no real economic data, but that'll be interesting. Thanks. I have premium. I'll check it out. All right, cool, Andrew. Glad to hear it, man. Let's see. Leslie Picker. So for now, Tesla should slow down production. And no. No, they don't want to slow down production. Fuck that. That's not what needs to happen. They're still profitable. They need to keep producing and fuck their margins. Fuck margins. It's all about scale. It's all about dominance. This is a software company that happens to produce hardware. We want as many cars out there as possible, because the more that are out there mean the more premium connection, $10 a month for internet on your car. It means more potential for people purchasing FSD, especially if they figure out a different pricing strategy over the short term to entice people, because the product has gotten so much better. We want more people in this ecosystem. We do not want to slow down production. We want to keep ramping as fast as we possibly can while reducing COGS. The cost needs to go down, and that's what Tesla is great at, and we need to see more of that. So we do not want to slow down on production. Fuck that. Let the stock price drop. Build, and fuck legacy auto. And since China can't come into our market, let's use this as an opportunity to lower COGS as aggressively as we can. Also, I didn't show this. I should have had this queued up. But for Tesla, we're also seeing lots of chatter with India. Oh, what am I doing here? Still got to learn some of this stuff. Don't know all of it yet. But we're seeing lots of chatter with India and about factories coming in. And I think that that's going to be something we'll see more of. Looks like my buddy Jeff is probably talking about some of this too, but I think we're going to see, what does it say? Is India becoming a strategic partner of Tesla? I think that that's happening. I know Prime Minister Modi wants India to be a part of Tesla, wants to be a part of this. And so I think we're going to see more of that in the future for Tesla. But I hope, if I get lucky enough, I probably put 40,000 in today into my calls with Tesla, maybe 30 or 40. I don't know the exact number because my stupid fucking exchange isn't showing me any of that shit most of the day. But I digress. Sorry. But I would love for it to drop further. I would love for it to, but I don't think we're going to see below 140. I mean, some crazy shit's going to happen for that to happen, because I still think rates are coming down in June and the market is forward looking. And if it gets a hint to that, And it doesn't even matter, right? Rates are coming down in 6 weeks or 10 weeks. So when 4 weeks happen, that's going to be 2 and 6. And markets are forward looking. So in the next couple of weeks to a month, markets are going to be saying things are going to get better for Tesla. Rates are going to start coming down. People are going to be interested in buying cars. They're lowering prices. They're still building out. They're crushing their competitors. And so I think we'll see that get better. And maybe though we have issues where I use a bunch of exchanges, Smokey, but Ally is my primary, and it kind of sucks. I might switch to somebody else. Might roll it over into Hood. If I roll $1 million over, I think I could still get 3%. So that's a pretty good chunk of money. Give me an easy 30 grand. That's like some people's income for a year. So I might do that. We'll see. But anyway, so we might see where Tesla suffers along with the auto industry maybe for the next month or two. And again, maybe that gets us even lower to 146. I think the probability is low. But maybe if it did happen, I would think the 130 range would be the next level because that's where we are, our next big shelf. I don't see us going down to where we were last year or the end of December when we were in the $100 range. I just don't see it. I don't see it. And maybe I'm wrong, but I will buy that fucking dip all night long if I am because this company's going to crush it. All right, I've talked a lot about Tesla, so I think we did enough there. Let's move on. Let's look at MicroStrategy. Just got fucking destroyed today. Again, this is why I sold half my position earlier in the week, is because I was worried about the premium getting crushed over the short term. And that does appear to be what's happening, right? Now, the good thing is, when we get down, like I was saying yesterday in here, and I think even the day before, when we get down to this 1200 range, 1100 range, that should act as pretty good support with this downward resistance line that goes back to the beginning of time. The UI is so crisp. Sweet, man. Glad to hear it. Yeah. Oh, Hood. I thought you meant my screen. Yeah, Hood's great. I love Hood. Still trying to get my gold card. So if you guys want to use my referral link, I'll put it out there. They haven't done a great job of updating me on whether or not I've got all the guys. I think I was 50% there last week when they showed me an update. But again, so if MicroStrategy goes down, 1200 to 1100 should be strong support. It gets really strong at the 800 range. So I sold 50% of it, and I started getting back in today. I got like 40,000 in. I will continue to add on this drop because the premium is getting sucked out of it, and bears are winning. These shorts are winning over the short term. So these dipshits are probably going to pile onto this trade. And then if Bitcoin does take off, they're going to get wrecked. So today down almost 11%. Looks a thing of beauty. Let's hope it keeps doing that. Let me see what else I want to pull up here. Let's just go through all the stuff. Let's go to Palantir and see how we did. And I guess I only have 50,000 in Palantir. I thought I bought 100,000 worth, but maybe I did that stupid thing where I bought some and sold it. I don't know. Got to pay attention to my shit, man. All right, so here's two things. Well, actually one thing. So it looks like we closed below our previous resistance line. Not the end of the world though, because if you draw this a little bit differently, it could be really close to it. But maybe we still trend lower here on Palantir, and maybe I get an opportunity to buy some more. But here's what I like. I like the fact that now we're kind of in this downward channel. Downward channels are nice. We were doing this upside bullish divergence or bearish divergence and fighting against that and going up. Now we're starting to drop down, and I like that. It's more stable. It means that we're going to have, this is a better dip buying opportunity than when it was just going up and it's basically going against the wind, right? Everything wanted to pull it down and it still kept going up. Now it's getting pulled down. So once we get to the bottom of whatever this is, maybe it's at 21, maybe we'll pop up here again next week. Maybe it gets down into the 20 range and starts closing down near this daily gap that goes all the way down to 18. I don't know, but that's not much further than we are now. And again, I think that's going to look really healthy as it sets us up for a nice pop higher towards that 30 range. So I'm liking, from a technical level, I'm liking Palantir more than I have in a long time. Actually is more now than since when I bought it, at the $7 range, and I got a bunch of calls and made a shit ton of money off of it. So it's good that this is happening. Get my text about Lake super thin, but I like it. Ryan, thanks, bro. Frank, Sailor sold heavy today. Great. If he sold heavy today, that means he's buying Bitcoin. So we'll see an announcement soon enough. Or maybe we saw one. Let me know if we did. Rahul, Clean Spark. Yes, we'll look at it. for sure. Actually, we're going to do that one next. So CleanSpark today. I didn't buy any CleanSpark today. Yeah, huge cup and handle on the weekly. Good call, AJ, for Palantir. So again, CleanSpark is still like in that rough drop. I think it's going lower if Bitcoin can't hold. If Bitcoin can hold, then we might start curling up here, and then maybe we get above the .618. But I think a decent amount of the miners today, and you can kind of see this, they all took a hit. HUT 8 was down 7.33. Bitfarms was down 4%. Iris Energy was down 2.78. Cypher was down 2.64. CleanSpark down 2. Mara down 0.22. TeraWolf down 1. So there weren't a lot of successful miners today. Riot did the best, like 0.1% upside. I mean, it's not great. So I think miners could continue to hit if Bitcoin doesn't remain strong. I'll do Matterport too. Not Mattersport though, but I'll do Matterport. I know what you meant though. All right, here we go. So I think that's it. That's what I'm sticking out for miners. And let me see. I'm going to do ARKG real quick. Saw a little bit of resilience in this today, but again, broader markets did okay, so it's not too much of a surprise. I did. I think I bought some of this today. If nothing else, I know I bought it yesterday because if you look here, you could see how we hit that support line going way back to the beginning of time, February 2021. So our previous downward resistance line that we broke above, tried to break above here, failed miserably, broke above here, established support. Now we're establishing support again. I like the setup with ARKG. So the 2026 are looking really good. I've got my phone playing a video all of a sudden. Let me just see what the hell this is about. All right, there we go. Turned off. Sorry for the distraction. So ARKG, I like the setup better than I have in a very long time. What are your thoughts on BITF? I haven't loved BITF. That's why I got out of it. And I did have a little bit in it, but I don't think I have any more in it right now. Again, I've got to get if nothing else, I got to get my portfolio allocation updated just so I can see what I have. Because I've got like, technically I've probably got about 14 different accounts right now. And it's just too much, man. It's too much to keep track of. So from a technical level, again, this kind of looks shitty. It looks very double toppy. It's an ugly looking pattern. It's like a reverse. If this was inverted, let me show you this inverted. So here's what I like to do sometimes. If you right click on the right side and invert scale, it gives you a view in the other direction. This can help remove bias because if this chart had fallen like this and then it was bouncing like it is right now, I'd be super fucking bullish, right? I'd be super bullish because I'd be like, look at that W bottom, dude. Looks tasty, getting ready to break out. Well, if that's getting ready to break out to the upside and we put it back the right way, then that tells me it's going to try and break down to the downside. So I could see like $1.50, $1.60, like going down to this fib at the very least. Honestly, if Bitcoin did retrace, if it can't hold itself over this weekend and we start to break down into the next week, then Bitfarms could get into like the 130s. I mean, it could get, because there's a measured move on this pattern. It's down here. And again, CleanSpark doesn't look much better, which is why I haven't been buying super aggressive in that. And it hasn't dropped enough. It's dropped a lot, right? Like it's already down, if we include after hours, down 45% from its wicked high over here for Bitfarms. And then I think CleanSpark, let me go back to that one. CleanSpark, again, if you invert this is why people ask me why I'm not going in heavy right now. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Let me see. What did I just fucking do? Oh, over here. Let me see. Let me do this. I effed something up. Oh, I moved it over here. Whatever. Didn't mean to do that. So I want to invert this one, right? So if I invert this, again, this looks like a great bottoming pattern, which I don't love, guys. I don't love it when it looks great when you look at it the other way. And the measured move for CleanSpark closes our gap at, what is it? In the $10 range. So if you're okay with it dropping 33% from here, and I mean, that drop is what in total? That drop is a 58% from our high, almost, no, a little bit better than that. 57% drop. Painful drop. So yeah, am I super bullish on miners right now? I'm cautious. I am very cautious on miners. Yeah, I wouldn't, again, it's like one of those things where I wouldn't get too excited about miners. These technical patterns look like shit. MicroStrategy looks better, even though it could get dragged down to the 800 range. If it gets down to 800, we got a good bottom there, and it's a lesser drop. So I'm adding to that first, and then I'll add into those next. All right, let me see. Where else do we? So we got through Bitfarms. So we're done with miners, done with ArcG, done with Palantir. Let's look at some of the other fintechs real quick. And then we'll get into your guys' requests. God dang it. Can't type worth it. Blah. All right. And I'll try and speed up here. I know everybody wants to do stuff on Friday. I do too. All right. So SoFi, let's see, up 1.23%. It closed above peak volume. This is the little train that wants to, man. Like it wants to go up. It wants to go up. Still down 73.7% from where it was. Is that right? Or is that off? Yeah, that's right. Going back into February of 2021. It's a long time ago, man. We're heading towards 1,200 days that we've been in these depressed levels. So this thing wants to go up. I'm bullish on SoFi. I didn't buy yet because, I don't know. I just, there's so many other things that I think are getting juicy, and I really want to stack my calls for 2.5 years from now with Tesla. And then again, Bitcoin-related investments. Those are my primary focus. These come in next. All right, Hood. I did buy a decent amount of Hood over the last few days, but again, I'm out of calls completely. I don't want the leverage to the downside. And I looked at the calls for Hood. They've been getting crushed. So is Square. Just getting crushed. Long term, are miners still a play? Yes, very much so. Short term, though, they'll rip your nuts off. So if you like that, stay in there. Anyway, so yeah, if I look here, Hood, down 78% from its high. Again, it's kind of retraced a little bit from 2080. And now we're down to, 1856, and maybe we test down to 1740. But I did buy today. So I got out like up here on my calls, and then I'm buying down here with stock. So I've removed the 3x multiplier, and if it drops a bunch, I can sell my stock. Yeah, great, right? Everybody loves that. And if it drops down here, I can sell my stock, and then I can go into options for it. But I wanted to remove. This had done so well, I wanted to remove that leverage play from it. I wanted to get out, and that's what I did. And so it's down 0.27%, down 0.167 in after hours. I think we could still see, the one level for this fib at like 1730. So I'll keep stacking stock at that level. If for some reason the market just gets shit on and we go down to 14 from being at almost 21, I'll be selling stock in Hood and buying probably January 2026 calls. I need to figure out which ones I want because I don't think I own any of those yet and haven't really looked at them, but I'll be doing that. All right, PayPal. Let's do that. And I got to get caught up with chat here too. I'm trying to get better at looking at both. Let me just jump back up here a little bit. All right, preach about Tesla production. Yes, David, we got to produce. Hey, Jesse, AJ, what's up, dude? Smokey, what exchange do you use? I already said. Ryan, forgive me. I just joined. Haven't caught up skimming yet. Were you buying MicroStrategy? Yes, I was. I bought probably too early, but I did buy like down 8-9%. And then I was getting ready for this. So I missed the last like negative 10 or 11%. But I'll buy next week if it keeps going down. That Reuters author was based out of Detroit. Isn't that funny? Legacy Auto paying somebody off. Also, shorts. Somebody took a really strong short position, or a group of somebody's took really, really large short positions before that article came out. So I would be surprised if there aren't some lawsuits coming out of that. What channels are Republican watching if it's not Fox News? There's others. I'm not I'm not far right or far left, so I don't pay attention to a lot of that shit. I just know that the messaging across mainstream media is pretty much towards the liberal slant for the most part. And then I know that there's really hardcore right stations. Like it's probably not even like traditional broadcasting. It's like, it's a bunch of other shit, a bunch of alternative stuff, things on X, that kind of stuff. But Fox News is probably like the normal news media conservative station. There probably isn't another one. Leslie Picker, geopolitics, CIA director to travel to Cairo for Gaza hostage talks this weekend. Isn't that fun? Frank, he layered in today. Yes, thank you. Smokey, dude, I use Hood. I love it. It's a great product. Smokey, I use UI's crisp. Okay, cool. Sailor sold heavy today. Did we actually get confirmation? All right, Palantir, huge cup and handle. Yep, agreed. All right, please review Matterport. Just trying to get caught up, see if I missed anything major here. Jesse, this is one of the golden nuggets that is enlightening on the inverse chart view. Yeah, dude, I'll try and show you guys more stuff like that as time goes on. I'll try and get caught up with chat here in a second. MSM is dead. X is real. It totally is, man. Whether you're conservative, liberal, libertarian, whatever the fuck you are, man, X is just a much better place where you can find reality. All right, so PayPal. PayPal above peak volume. Still sitting strong, man. Up 1% today, down 0.23% in aftermarket. I believe I bought more PayPal, but again, my stupid fucking exchange doesn't show me what actually closed. So I guess I just have to guess. But I believe I bought more of that for obviously, January 2026. I'm not buying any more January 2025. Haven't sold any of those. I will continue to hold those into this next earnings. And if I have to, I will hold those into July. I might even let them go to zero. We'll see. I would prefer they not. But I think there's a decent chance that the economy, that we're at least going to get an upside push before we get any kind of downside crush in the economy. Short term, though, maybe we still see downside, but over the next 3 to 6 months, I see upside. That's my take. All right, let me see here. What else we got? PayPal, Block. I'll show Block, and then I'll jump into Matterport, DLO, and those others. So Square got a bounce today, and it was getting crushed. So it's good to see. 3.27%. So it got really crushed today. But look, we closed some of our gap on the daily time frame. The fact that we've nicked that is pretty good. And I got to say, this is a pretty decent bounce off the bottom. We were at 73 today. Now we're at 77. Not a bad bounce, but we want to get above this previous trend line again. It looks like we're starting to get above peak volumes here again on the profile. That's a good sign too. So maybe we've seen the bulk of the drop. Unless macro pulls us down, Square is looking like it wants to recover. If it gets above like 82 again, like right over here, that's going to be good. All right, let's pull up Matterport, and then we'll just keep dialing down the line here. Matterport got hit. I think, and I know I was talking with some people too about it, that they might not have as much downward pressure from rates staying high for longer because they're in so many other different business verticals right now. And that is probably true. My argument for these guys is that real estate is still an area where they could benefit from greatly if rates came down. So that's very important. All right, so Matterport, down 1% on the day, down 0.5% in after hours. I think this could continue to drop. If it does, I'm a buyer of my options. My options are still up, though, so am I a buyer right now? No. I have a rule where I try not to start to really buy into these things until they go red. I want to get a lower price, right? Oh, yeah, Newsmax. Yeah, that's another one that's conservative, right? So there's a couple. All right, SEC doesn't have time for Elon's enemies. Let's see here. So cautious on miners? Why? Can you explain? Sorry if I missed that. You did miss it, Petro. I went back through it, so please go back a little bit. I talked about miners, and if you invert the scale, so like right now, this is the pattern we see. To an untrained eye, they might think we're finding support on the miners. But if you invert the chart on the right and go invert and look at it with just, clear eyes, this is what would get me super excited, and I would buy the shit out of this if this was this way. Because this is a W bottom, and it looks like it's getting ready to break out. So in the measured move would be like the W. So it looks like it wants to go for like Bitfarms to the 116 range, which is like a 45% drop from where we're at. So am I bullish on miners over the short term? Fuck no. And CleanSpark looks this way too. Do I hold them? Yeah, I've got like almost $500,000 in miners right now, but I had almost $1 million, right? So I've cut back, and I cut back at a higher level. So I'm just going to let them bleed potentially. And if they don't, that's great. If we could establish a base over here over the next week or two, great. Maybe we're getting further upside, but I'm not bullish on miners right now. No. All right. And you can check the video for the rest of it. All right, so Matterport again. I think it looks good. I think it looks good. It's going to continue to drop, maybe find support. I'm okay with that. I will buy more. It won't be my primary priority though, because again, like Tesla's my priority, and then nibbling into these miners and MicroStrategy as they drop. That's kind of my priority right now, because with the Bitcoin halving coming in 13 days, it's going to be very important that we're going to start to see upside pressure. It could take months, but I don't care. I want to get ready for that. All right, DLO up 0.06% today, staying above the fib, closing the week there. It looks like a good chart. Not much else to say there. Again, above most peak volumes, it'd be nice to get above this, 17 range kind of. If we can get above 17, then it's a really good chance that we're going higher. And let me throw in Flux, because I know way too many people jumped into that. But I warned them. On X, I tell people my thoughts, and I warned, like, don't go crazy on this. And if you get the stock, buy it slow, because I moved this thing buying $45,000. So down 1.39%, so it chopped a little bit. Maybe it's fine in the base. This does look like a W bottom. It looks like it could be a continuation higher. I think I accumulated more, but again, I can't fucking tell. So I think my limit orders went through, though, and I bought more of it. All right. Anything else major that I missed? Let me go back. So I'm going to go into here now and start looking. And I do have a friend that he wanted me to look up a couple of things, so I'm going to do that real quick. And he is not a member, but I'm giving him a pass for today. All right, because he's going to become one. All right, so it's GCT, and let me just pull that up real quick here. And so now we're getting into the requests. If you're a starter pack member, you get one. That's $3 a month. If you're a whale, you get up to two. Or I'm sorry, alpha, you get up to two. Whales, you get up to three. But again, even starter pack, you can chat and do all this other stuff. So it's pretty good. All right, one sec here. I got to figure out how to get my chat to where it appears all the time. It drops behind the window, which I kind of hate. All right, Agonus. Oh, wow, this is a beat up fucking stock. Let's see what we got here. Is it beat up for a reason? Whoa, after hours getting slammed. These guys have earnings or something? No, they already had earnings. Woof, dude, this is just a pain train. This is probably, I'm frightened to look at what this, oh my God, when does it end? When does the pain stop? Oh, there it is. Woof. All right, so I just need to see what this looks like from a fundamental level, man, because this is fucking nuts. Let me bring this over real quick. Oh, what was that chart again? AGEN. Okay. AGEN. Agonus. Probably saying that wrong. Massive revenue growth, but it's weird, right? It's weird. Got like these big pumps every couple of years or year and a half or something. Total dilution here. 12% short interest almost. Debt is higher than cash and bonds for the first time in a while. They lose money. $46 million a quarter. Revenues were only $83 million, and the quarter before that they were 24. So really, this thing just keeps burning cash. Operating expenses are choppy and fucking weird. They're forecasting for higher revenues, but I mean, are these guys good at meeting forecasts? Let's look over here. Let's go to the daily and see how awesome they are at hitting earnings. You probably got like a 45% chance of having an earnings call go well. Down at the bottom here, you can see that. Not super great. Oh, I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can fix this real quick. Ooh, I'm going to have to fix that. All right, so I'll have to fix that in this view. Can I do this here maybe? No. All right, I'll fix my chart view later. But there's a bunch of, down at the bottom, it shows the earnings and all that stuff. And it does not look great. It looks like 45% of the time they actually hit their estimates. So this company is a big hell no for me personally. I don't see anything even remotely enticing here. And they're biotech. So I'd rather own ArcG. I'm just going to keep saying that on these biotechs, guys. All right, let's see what else we got. Thanks for sharing your time and knowledge. Really appreciated. All right, yeah, no problem. Let me see. Did I do my friend's thing? No, I didn't. GCT. Did I do that already? I don't think I did. I think I talked about doing it, but I don't think. I'm going to make it a long stream today, guys. We're going to rock and roll for a little bit. If you guys are still here and willing to be, we might even do like 2 hours in total because I want to pull up a bunch of things. I want to go through a lot. So, yeah, what was his? It was GCT for my boy Batman. Here we go, Batman. You gotta give Batman a few, right? Even if he's not a member yet. Whoa. Giga Cloud Technology. I don't know if you're looking at this for a short play or a long, but it's already done really fucking great. It went from $4.20 to 45, so we're 10xing. What does this company look like? Is this a great company or is this just one that's gotten weird? Because that is, I mean, they're definitely a Giga Chat. I don't know about Giga Cloud, but fuck. 95% increase in revenue, only 1.4 billion. Their net income is 35 million. That's actually not bad. What are estimates here? Estimates are kind of like a little flat, but growth. Maybe it just, yeah, not bad growth. Let's see what activity is. Nothing really for insider. Institutional ownership has increased dramatically as these guys have become profitable, or I should say, as their revenues have increased. And if you look at operating leverage, again, revenues are pretty quickly outpacing expense, and we love to see that. Stock-based comp is a percent of revenue. What are we looking at here? Oh, it's so tiny, it's hard to see. Let me do this. Non-consequential. They did all their stock-based comp over here in Q3, and then they did a small amount in 2023. So it seems like a lot of the stock issuance was early on for this company. That's good too. You like to see that. CEO La Wu. So is this? Oh, is this China? Oh yeah. Is this China? Is that a C? Yeah, probably. All right. Well, I hate it right away. It's uninvestable to me. Uninvestable if it's based out of China. I cannot take it seriously. Let me see here. Read about China since founding in 2000. Have they moved? Let's see. E-commerce facilities that connects manufacturers mainly in Asia with resellers across the United States, Asia, and Europe, focusing on furniture and company and Giga in February. Yeah, I don't care about China. Fuck China. Fuck China. There's just too much trade-related risk. This is interesting to me in one thing, though. A potential short. Just a hedge. So in case of war, this could be a brilliant hedge because, again, they coordinate between parts of the West and Asia. And in a wartime scenario, this company would probably be devastated. Massive drops. And with their growth rate being so strong, that could be interesting. So I'm interested from that regard. Sorry, Batman. All right, let's go to the next one here. What do we got? Matt Nintendo. Hey, getting that early message here. Don't forget to look at classic growth trio, Tesla, Palantir, PayPal. Oh, always do, man. Gartavo, what broker you use for trading IB car or Hood? I've got Ally, Hood, a bunch of them. And then for crypto, like Coinbase and more. I'm in Germany. Here, Hood only introduces crypto. I'm looking for lower fees. Yeah, I don't know the best for Germany. You'd have to look around, man. I can't tell you. Intelligent computing. Hey, how do Jesse? What the fuck is up with GE? GE, is GE doing something interesting? Is it going up right now? Nope, don't have it. I haven't looked at this in a long time. GE's just had like decade plus, 2 decades probably, of just being a shit company, and it's done better since. But yeah, I'm curious now. What are you seeing? Is this GE? Is this GE Aerospace? Or GE what? Let me see. GE. Is that right? GE Aerospace. Am I looking at the right one, dude? Oh, the domain's in the USA. Okay, that's better then. But still, it's probably more of a short play than a long. Because again, if we're drifting towards worse relationships with China, and I don't see that getting better at all. So I worry about shipping between those two. Tesla's up 4% in after hours. What the fuck is that about? What is that about? Let me check GE real quick. And then, is this the right GE? Or is this General Electric? Is General Electric aerospace now? Do they have it tie it in with that? I don't know. Let me see here. Robotaxi 88? What? Fuck this. What are we doing? We're going to that. What? Oh, I'm so glad I bought 40 grand worth of Tesla calls. What is going on? What? Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Thanks for that, guys. Woof. Oh, this is exciting. This is exciting. I gotta retweet this. 1 second here, guys. I gotta do this. This is fucking great. Thank you for giving me a heads up on that, guys. That's so great. So great. I'm so excited. Dude. Yeah, I think it's safe to say we found the bottom in Tesla, guys. All right, I'll go back to GE in a second here. I got to get back to Tesla. That's just too good to be true. We got to take a look here. So where are we landing right now? Oh, what a great way to end the week with Tesla. So in after hours, we're getting close to this breakout line again. After hours, we're up here. So that looks so good. W bottom starting to form the right side of the W. It's a very, very nice technical pattern. Elon Musk, man. He must be getting ready. He must be getting ready to release some more shorts. Maybe it's a different color than red this time. Nah, you should probably keep it red. Maybe it's purple. Maybe they're really bruised now. Oh, that's fucking cool. All right, so if this is the right GE, I'm looking at it. And this must be. Do they have a tag of aerospace now? Is that real? GE was like the shittiest company. I mean, look at this. Since 2000, just pain. But now it's recouped almost all of that. They did a really good job of like spinning off. They did a really good job. Oh God, I'm just so excited about Tesla right now. I don't want to talk about anything else. But they did a really good job of spinning off, and you could see it. Well, let's see here. No, you can't really. Is this the same company? Am I tripping? This is the same company. So we've seen revenue decline. It's finally went up just a little bit. It's a $171 billion company. Oh, net income. What was that? Oh, that's 2023 though. Let's go back here. Let's look at quarterly. 1.6 billion. I mean, it's not horrible. EPS is showing like, but the revenue keeps declining. This company is best, I think. Yeah, GE makes bunches of stuff now. I don't know what they're actually left at because again, they've just been dying. Their revenue is a good sign of that, right? Like even here since 2007, we were just seeing declines. And the next quarter, I don't know if we go up or down this year. Let's see, 67 billion in revenue last year. What does it look like so far this year? Well, I guess we don't have those numbers yet. They don't have Q1, but so I don't know. Like 19 billion last quarter. What is their estimate? They're going to get smaller. So their revenues are declining for this company, but they've just been able to like increase cash flow, buy back shares, lower operating expenses, just kind of coast by. And again, the last few quarters look, I don't know. I just wouldn't surprise me if these guys still continue lower. And I'd say the valuation is fair though, because the PE is 15. And if they can actually start growing revenue, then maybe the forward PE will get better. But this is not an exciting stock to me, and it's already run so hard, dude. Is GE a Palantir? Oh, I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know. They might be. But look at this return already. So May of 2020, the stock was $27. It's 156. Yeah, they spun off so many parts of their different, medical division. Yes, been spinning off tons. They basically just been selling and trying to keep what works. But, and that might be a strategy that can do all right for a while. But like, I mean, do you think of GE as innovation? Do you really? So I don't know. I'm not interested in GE. Please have a look at either CRISP hitting volume profile node and TA support or Fiverr. I look at these a lot. And we could look at it again, man. I'll give it to you this time. But here's what, before I do that, I'm going to look at the financials on both those, right? Or if I can type right. So CRISPR Technologies. You're like, hey, it's hitting on volume profile. All right, so let's look here. We do have revenue. We have actual revenue. But let's start with this. CRISPR is a $5.3 billion company that is still diluting shares, not a crazy amount, but still diluting. And they had 1 quarter of profitability where they had 89 million. Now let's look at estimates. Estimates going forward probably have them losing money again in Q1 and Q2, and their net income plummeting again over the next 2 quarters. So just based on financials, I'm not that interested right now. Could it be a technical play? Maybe. We see the insiders are buying, right? So that's interesting. Now let's pull up the stock real quick. All right, CRISP. Here we go. All right. And again, it's pretty beat up. Like I said, I think I said before, it's fallen through the volume profile. I didn't actually find support. Peak volumes, it's underneath of it. So that kind of sucks. I think that maybe we could retrace down here to the next level at the 58 range before going higher. Again, this has a $5.3 billion valuation. That is a huge amount of money still. And I don't like it for that reason, even though it looks like they're starting to make some money. It's still like if we had enough quarters of profitability where we had a PE ratio here, it would be shit. So keep that in mind. Let me get this right about there. Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, not super great in my opinion on that one. And Fiverr. And I think Fiverr, some people have made the argument that, is it Fiverr? How do you spell Fiverr? Let me get back over here. I got to memorize these. 2 R's. 2 R's. I'll try and catch up with Chad here too. Yeah, that Tesla announcement is awesome, dude. So the thing with Fiverr, I think, is some arguments about whether AI takes away some from this company. They are a $763 million company. They've had positive net income, but it's only like $3 and $4 million. Revenue has been almost flat for the last 2 years plus. Now, estimates going forward are increasing slightly. It shows if they're right about EPS estimates, we could actually see some decent upside here in this one. No institutional buying that I can see. Short interest is like 11%. And a slight uptick in institutional ownership here recently. Debt levels are higher than what they're holding for cash and bonds. I don't love that. Not outrageous, though. It seems sustainable. I do love the positive cash flow. I don't hate this, right? I don't hate the positive cash flow from quarter to quarter. This is actually starting to look good. Let's look at it on a yearly, too. 2022 is a little rough, but 2023 is getting better. I like that incline. That's nice. Again, those are doing some of the right things that we want it to do. Stock-based comp as a percentage of revenues, 18%. That's high. They should try and cut some of that back. I do like that expenses are going down and revenue, again, might be ticking up based upon what their forward guidance is. Let's look at the actual. I know this one was beat up, but again, I go back to valuation too, because I don't think that's looked at enough. 763 million is a lot better than like what we just looked at with 5.3 billion and not really making a lot of money. So let's look here. So this is a more healthy valuation for a company that potentially is looking to become net income positive. And that could arguably, maybe we're finding a W bottom here. I didn't realize it had dropped this much more. This is actually getting interesting to me. I'm going to put this at the top of my list. 1 second. All right, so that one's going to be on my list here to look up options and see what we have. I do love that these guys have met expectations on earnings, going all the way back to, what is it, 2020, February of 2020. I love that. Yeah, man, you got me interested. Way more interested than I would have been up here, at 334. Wow. Wow. Let me draw a fib-based retracement here. Well, I just want to see. I'm going to draw it. I'm going to draw it actually from the previous. Yeah, we were so down. So down. Let me do this. I'm going to draw a trend-based extension, making an assumption that we're near the bottom, just to kind of project out what might be possible. This has me interested, man. This has dropped even further than it was before. Yeah, that's not bad at all. So we've got a more than a doubling in price action just to mean revert. We're at the 40s. And then we don't have like a ton of volume until really 60. So if this company can do it, if this company can really do well, this might be interesting. I'm going to continue to monitor this one. I might even put out a fielder option play and make a members only video on this one. I need more due diligence. I know you said that this got crushed because, again, they're an Israeli-based company, and then there's questions about AI potentially replacing them. I wonder if they have like a strategy. I just wonder what their strategy looks like going forward and what they think the growth is going to be and all that kind of stuff. I could see, if anything, on Fiverr, I could see more people contracting for business for people that are good with AI. They can create content using AI where they don't have to learn it and they don't have to know all the nuances. So maybe business doesn't get beat up because of AI for these guys. I don't know. Let's see. AJ, yes, GE makes jet engines. Sealess, yes, they spun off their, okay. Tesla announcement. Okay, so I'm caught up with chat. If you guys got anything else more to say in there, I'm going to go back here and start looking at other things. Intelligent computing, PanW, and ZS also seem to be hitting support. These might be good macro ratio pairs. Gold. Okay, so you got a bunch of stuff in here. All right. Apparently Tether bought 8,800 Bitcoin. Huh, I'll have to check that out. A lot of stuff from intelligent computing. I won't be able to pull all these up, man. This is just too much content for me to pull up for one person. I want to make sure I'm spreading the wealth. But whatever's most important here, throw it in the chat if there's anything else you want to cover, and I'll cover one more topic for you. All right, let me get to, I think Lisa Maria is next here. Bonds didn't rise as interest rates fell. Thank you as always. Yeah, bonds were actually like, bonds didn't do too crazy today. The move index actually declined by the end of the day. So again, people may be kind of looking still to be risk on, or at least not interested in bonds, especially with longer dated maturities. Let me see. I will do one more for intelligent computing. Would you consider writing or selling Tesla 120 and 140 put options as a way of staging into Tesla on the way down? I'm just interested in buying long calls. I still think that the June 2026s are interesting, and I want to set myself up for what's coming years from now. And with Robotaxi Day, the narrative behind Tesla, so people know, it'll be interesting to see what earnings are like. Maybe we see like a trough down there, but people will be getting excited about rates going down in the future, I think. And then now we have some nitro with Robotaxi 8.8. So August 8th, we're going to be talking about Robotaxi. So I can see the second half of this year, Q3, Q4, getting a lot better for Tesla as rates drop, and maybe we see a bottoming in used car prices, and maybe we see a bottoming in new car prices. And we're not letting the Chinese in, so Tesla's going to be the main competitor here, and probably still in Europe. The Chinese haven't entered there either. So a lot of the markets that are willing to pay the most amount of money are going to be looking for Teslas. And I think that narrative is going to grow. So I don't know. I'm super excited on Tesla, man. I'm super excited. Yeah, but I'll do more looking at Fiverr. And yeah, that's my answer there. Lisa Marie, hey Jesse, are you considering TLT options? No, I would not look at TLT. So TLT is like the 20-year, right? I think 20-year options are a shit play, and here's why, Lisa. Um, we don't know where we've got uncontrollable spending right now with the government. And I don't know when that gets better. And I don't know if that gets better even if we get a Republican in office because we're so out of control right now. We really could use lower taxes so that we can see stronger GDP growth. And we definitely need AI and robotics and autonomy and genomics. We need everything to be firing on all cylinders. If we get that, we can outpace the debt. But even in that scenario, Lisa, why would people buy our government debt when without rates coming down significantly? And again, maybe they get better. If you got cash, it's probably not bad to dial into some of these, but maybe shorter dated maturities will treat you better. And I don't think you're going to want to be in a bond for 20 years. And so, like, again, it might be a better idea to do shorter dated maturities. They'll turn around faster, I believe, and they'll do better. So because I think people will be like, oh, okay, well, this is flipping. Like maybe like a, I don't know. I would stay away from bonds. You could maybe go into it if you got some cash and you think that they might turn and when rates are dropping, but I don't think it's going to perform as nearly as well as like Bitcoin or some of these other fintechs or so many other things that we talk about on here. So I don't love bonds, but if you're using it as cash, maybe it's okay. All right, let me go down here. And you do get a dividend from it, right? So that might be all right. Lithium, other chemical and energy. I don't like intelligent computing. I don't like lithium plays right now. I don't. It's gonna be a race to the bottom with lithium. I think it's gonna be one of those things where everybody's gonna try and produce. And so everybody listened to Elon a year or two ago talking about how they needed way more lithium, and so there's a bunch of companies that are getting into the mining of it. There's government subsidies and stuff, but I don't know. There's just a lot of people. Hey, thanks, Omar, for becoming an alpha member. I appreciate you, sir. All right. Let's see here. Bonds did not rise. Yeah, okay, I got that. Hey, Jesse, thanks for all you do. This is from Matthew. Can you please check out Figs, healthcare apparel company? Think the Lululemon of healthcare. Huh, interesting. I didn't know there was a Lululemon of healthcare, but I'm willing to check it out. And healthcare is going to be big. It's going to grow. We know that we've got an older demographic, right? That we're aging. So that is interesting. Revenues, though, again, haven't really went anywhere in a while. EPS is getting better. No real guidance on Q1 or Q2 for them. Net income is what? Like $10 million. That is not a lot. This is almost $1 billion company. It's an $800 million company. Revenue growth was 0% year over year. Cash flow went up and down. They've got some extra cash. What did they got? 250 million, roughly 38 million in debt. It doesn't seem too interesting as a company. This doesn't seem like something that's going to grow a lot. So I'm probably going to skip the chart on this one. Sorry, my friend. It's not interesting to me at all. Thoughts on IMMD or INMD leaps? I'm probably going to look into those more. I will pull up the chart, but I haven't looked at the leaps. It is on my list. So when I look up Fiverr this weekend, I'm going to go through my list of short and long plays, and I'm going to try and make at least one members video on each. So I'll try and give you guys, and maybe I'll cover a couple of stocks on each one of those too. But I'm going to do kind of like what I like for long plays out of the list of things that we've reviewed or ones that I'm keeping track of and I might buy because I haven't bought yet, obviously. And then ones that might be good short plays too. So I'm actually going to broadcast those before I buy any. So I'm going to try something different. So I'll try and do those over the weekend here. All right, let me get down. What else we got here? Lisa Marie, looking at the 20-year chart, it's likely that TLT will double bottom in the mid to low 80s before rate cuts. Yeah, I think you're right. And again, it could bounce from rate cuts. But I just don't know if it's the most ideal play. I don't. Because if things really go to shit, I don't think bonds are going to hold up because we're going to have to print more money. So it doesn't even really hedge you against risk. And I think like small caps could do better. I think that, I don't know. I just think that there's better plays than the bond market. Trade up, not down. You removed all the chart links. Yeah, I did. I will repost them. I actually pinned a tweet at the top saying I removed those because those were on my PC, which is getting serviced. And I'm on a Mac right now, and I haven't converted those over to what I guess is numbers, is what I'm supposed to use on here. So anyway, so I don't have the data, and it's horribly out of date. So I just took it off for now. Once I get my PC back and I convert that over to this platform on the Mac, then I'll go ahead and get that posted. But for now, it's not. Wild Frenchie, bonjour everyone. Hi Jesse. Not sure I will be here for the live. Well, hey man, I hope I understand what the French are like. The last time I was in Paris, France, you guys enjoy your weekends and you enjoy your weeknights too. So hey, that's totally cool, bro. Not sure I'll be here, but can you look at STNE? So this is Stone. This is like a fintech in Latin America, but not the premium one, not the new. And or you said, I am just a baby member, so just check one. They look interesting. Cheers. All right. Well, thanks, man. Thanks for being honest too. All right. So let's take a look here real quick. We'll check Stone. I know I looked at this before, so I should have it. I've actually owned it at one point. Oh, okay. I guess I don't have it on my list, so I'll add it. This one doesn't get a lot of coverage. And so I kind of worry about that when you don't see a lot of coverage because it just doesn't let. And again, it's like one of those things where, like in America, do you want to own the premium? And I guess I shouldn't say that because for e-commerce, Mercado Libre is definitely the premium in Latin America, and I'm invested in DLO, right, which is like the second. But let's see here. So this is a $5.3 billion valuation. And they've been hitting on earnings going back to, I guess, since March 2022 was their last bad one. Let's look at what their financials look like. So Stone Co. Limited. Oh, hey, Wild French. Yeah, dude, you guys are great. When I went to Paris, man, I was in like the most perfect spot in Paris. And it had this little circular area. We were staying in this Airbnb, and there were a bunch of restaurants and bars down below, and just like every corner goes off in a different direction. And there's like scenic things from people that were famous 500 years ago, like right down the street from me. But there's just people drinking and partying all night. We had this local homeless guy that slept on the street. I'd give him food and alcohol each night. But you guys know how to party, and this was like. We were there like 4 days during the week, and every night people were out drinking till 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I was surprised. It's definitely different than the U.S. We do have some of that in the U.S., but the scale of it in France was just next level compared to what I'm used to. All right, revenues are increasing. These guys are seeing increasing revenues. That's good. 25% growth, not a bad number. Definitely not new. But not bad. And they're going positive now. So these guys have been, they're executing all right. Look at that operating leverage. Love to see that. Revenues, decent pace of growth. Operating expenses, not really growing much. Estimates are continuing to see revenue growth and continuing to see EPS increase. People watching, eating baguettes and drinking wine. Yeah, dude. Oh, the baguettes were pretty yummy too. There's so much good food there, especially desserts. Yeah, that was fun. I definitely want to go back. We went to Munich, Germany for Oktoberfest, which is fucking crazy. So many drunk people. They have like 4 or 5 million people that go to that for Oktoberfest each year. It's like a crazy number of people. Never seen so many drunk people passed out on the side of the hill receiving medical attention in my life. And beer tents where you have like, in some cases, like 5,000 people or something, 10,000 people. It was the craziest like circus fair type thing I've ever been to. And then on top of Munich, we went to Paris, France. Then we just traveled in between on train. And it was fun, super hungover most of the time, but a great time. Yeah, this is looking interesting, man. PE's 27. It doesn't look overvalued, and it looks like it could run, but I just don't know how much more. I don't know. This will be one I can keep an eye on my list, but it won't be at the top of it. All right, let me see here. Where'd we go? Where'd I go? I lost my space. Let me scroll down here. Did I lose my space? Stone. And you, I'll probably skip you this time. Bring up you next time, Wild Frenchie, and we'll talk about it. Tim Wolf, Jesse, you posted into a link to Rex Finance on X. You and him seem to differ opinions regarding lowering of rates. I differ opinions with a number of people in regard to lowering rates. I think the common narrative is that rates will stay higher for longer, and I think that's wrong. And I like Rex. I think he's really smart on a bunch of stuff, but I think he's wrong on this. And I think I'll be proven right. And yeah, but I think he's brilliant, though. I think he's a great voice to listen to for a 22-year-old. I don't want to say kid because that's condescending and patronizing. He could be my kid because I'm going to be 47, but he could be my kid. But he's brilliant. He's brilliant and like sage-like compared to a number of people that are my age or 60s, 70s. He seems to have more wisdom and knowledge than most of them. So I like to throw out his links, even though we have differing opinions. Ahad, Yao Ming Yu, why aren't you buying CLSK? I think I said that earlier. If just again, that chart just looks like shit. I don't know if you saw that, Yao Ming, but it's just if I invert it, it doesn't look great. Let me see. Google Sheets works on both Mac and Microsoft. Ooh, that might be cool. I wish I would have done it in Google Sheets and not Excel. But that's cool. So I can actually, if I'm on a PC or whatever, I can use that. I might look to do that then. That might be an easier transfer too, to get it in that environment. And that way I can go from there. I like that idea. Thanks, Brian. I really appreciate it. Omar, very happy to finally be here. Appreciate you, bro. Could you do reacts if you get a chance? I will. I'll try and hit that. Actually, I'll do it here in a second. Since you joined as a member, I appreciate you, Omar. Wild Frenchy people watching eating baguettes. Okay, we talked about that. Petro. Sorry, man, I should know this. My wife's mostly Spanish. IEP. It is a Derek Quip deep value play. Carl Icahn stock. I'll look at that. I think I have already, but I'll look at it again. Best time to buy stocks. Thank you. David, lots to absorb from the Robotaxi Day announcement, guys. Be sure to manage your expectations. Could represent a rethink of Tesla growth story. I agree, David. Bullish in my opinion, but could be a violent interpretation short term. It should be a violent to the upside. It'll be interesting. Amit, all good to have different opinions. Yes, it is, my friend. Ryan Ripkowski, snow, please. All right, so these are more requests. Hey, Jesse, your thoughts on a QQQ as a hedge for a market meltdown? I don't know. It depends on what you invest in. Like, you want to try and get hedges that kind of equate to the volatility of what you're invested in. I'm invested in some pretty volatile shit. So for me, I don't think that would be a good hedge personally. All right, let me go back to my list of the older requests here. I bought Jermaine. I bought some MicroStrategy too. I think that's smart. Digital Joe sold all my MicroStrategy yesterday for cash, going right back into it next week. Hopefully you bought some today too, down 10, 11% on the day. Digital Joe. And again, I don't know. I hesitate to wait too long on it because there's parts. The market looks weird. It looks like it could go up and it could go down. So I just don't know how long it's going to stay down. Trading for freedom, all good. Digital Joe. Mac equals insane sound video quality, unlike what you've shown. Yeah, thanks, man. Julio, hey Jesse, thoughts on Sato mining? Sato mining? Is that a thing? Or is it? I've never even heard of that. Is that a ticker or is that some different type? Or like a really fucking tiny mining company? If anybody knows what Sato is. Is it this Invesco fund? Is that what we're talking about? This Galaxy Crypto Economy ETF? Is that what we're talking about? If so, I don't even know what's in this, so I can't speak to it. I could look. I can add a note here. But I can't look it up because I don't even know what this is. It would take a little bit of research. So I will look that one up. Spencer, Caleb, love Mac. They have come far with their hardware. Yes, sir. Henry Padilla, aloha, Jesse. Thoughts on INMD? Okay, so we were going to talk about this one. Let's talk about it. Let's look at valuation first, and then we'll jump into the stock. So in mode is one I'm starting to track. I just need to do a deeper dive. I need to do better due diligence on some of these ones that we've been looking at because you guys have given me a pretty good list of them. Now, again, we've talked about this already. Revenue increase is looking a little bit better. Over here, it shows year over year negative 5%, but it's also kind of seasonal. Now, estimates are flat. EPS is kind of flat. That's not great. And if we look at the market cap, it's 1.6 billion, but these guys are netting like 55 million last quarter. That's not a bad number. Positive cash flow, strong cash position at 750 million dollars. So this company really is being valued at like 900 million if you look at it that way, even though they're clearing a nice net income, and their PE is only 8.48. Forward PE is 7.76. So this is very interesting. It's a medical device company. I love that valuation just based upon PE alone is just kind of awesome. So I do like it from that regard, man. I really do. Sato X. Okay, I'll take a look at that in a second, Lisa. Thank you for clarifying that. All right, real quick though, let's go into end mode here. So this might be one of the ones in my video. I think there's a decent likelihood that it is. Still underneath peak volumes here. What have we seen for a drop with this over time? And I need to understand, I actually need to draw this a little bit differently. It's a little bit off, but it's an 80% decline from where they were in November of 2021. So this company has been brutalized, even though their net income arguably is slightly trending higher and their revenues are slightly trending higher. They just flattened out for a little bit. It's really all about like, what does the growth look like? And it doesn't look super great just looking at the forward here. But if this is a company that has a bright future, I'd like to listen to an earnings call maybe over the weekend and then do some DD, maybe listen to some other people that follow this and then see what they have to say and just really familiarize myself with the stock. Because I do like the fact that this PE is so insanely low and that it's dropped over 80%. I just love that. Not going to lie. All right, let me get down the list here. Yeah, let me check that Sato X. Let me pull up this other chart that I had for them, and then I'll rename it and put that down. If it's a tiny miner, I'm probably not going to love it. I'll just be honest, because I don't know that tiny miners can make it. If they're private and they're mega backed, then maybe they can. But they got to have some big money. Are we sure this is a Sato X, Sato mining pools? I see a cryptocurrency. Is that what we're talking about, Lisa? Because I don't see an actual ticker symbol for a stock. And so this just looks like a shit coin to me. Sato F? Sato Corp? Is that it? Electronic computer peripherals. The fuck is this? Yeah, I don't know what that is. Let me know if you guys figure out the Sato thing. I'm still not figuring it out. I don't know what it is. All right, let me go into here. Let's look at previous comments. Roll down the list here. Yesterday you mentioned SoFi calls for 2026 are not attractive. Can you go over your analysis? Yeah, I just looked at them and I didn't like the return on them. And we can check. Yeah, maybe it's changed. And when I looked at them, when I say they're not attractive, I'm talking from a week ago, okay? So just to be clear. Let's look at them now. And I'm not going to look up like the options chains right now. I'm just going to focus on like January 2026. And then let's see, what do I believe a good target is for SoFi right now? I think 15 is easy. It's too easy. So let me see, what would I look for as my target for 2026? Because I gotta think out to there. So all right, no, I guess 15 is pretty. 15 is like pre-breakout. You could argue maybe 21, but 15 is a doubling. Let's stick with that for now, because 15 gets us up next to this other channel of volumes. right? Like right up here, this is 15, and that's where we start to hit this previous triple top. So that's probably a good place to start. And I'm sure there's a few people that are in it. So let's go to 15. And then let's just, I usually buy a few contracts. Let's put a big number in here. 500,000 or 568,000. That's a good number. I like that. All right. I agree to the terms. Yes, I do. Show me my shit. All right. And what do I think we could get to in SoFi? I think we could actually see all-time highs of 26, maybe. Yeah, I think 26 isn't crazy. What are we at right now? Market cap of 7 billion. Yeah, I don't think that's crazy at all. So let me go to 26 here. So we'll just pretend like we got an all-time high. We're going out almost 2 years, right? Like we're going out 1 year, 9 months roughly. Probably 1 year, 7 months when we want to start to exit this trade. And this does actually look improved. This isn't a bad trade, in my opinion. But again, this is assuming that we get above 15 and we can ride, right? So we got to break 15, which is a doubling. But if this stock did 200% returns, you can get 550. This is my minimum, right? My minimum is usually trying to get a 3x multiplier versus the underlying. And if it went up and it saw new all-time highs in the next 1.9 years, or I should say 1.8 years, 1.75 years, then we could see numbers like 745% out of 252. So again, it's a good 3x. It's a good 3x the underlying asset. And in that case, I could turn $68,500 into $500,000. So I don't hate that number. I don't hate that number at all. I think there's probably some other crypto ones. So yeah, I probably will look at January 2026, probably the $15 strikes, as long as you motherfuckers don't bid it up. So I take that back. It's getting better. I think this grinding down over the last week might have helped it out a little bit, just staying in this zone for a while. I think it was it was rough on the people that wanted to be bullish the stock, even though we've seen a lot of, positive headlines. So yeah, maybe I am getting more bullish with those 2026s. I'll probably, if I buy any more, it's definitely going to be that. Again, I'm a SoFi shareholder because SoFi is just a bank. Joking. Yeah, I don't think they're just a bank. Lots of people have 2 or 3 jobs. Yep, okay. Hesse Sports Cards. I can't help but wonder how many of the new part-time jobs are people that are trying DoorDash. That too. It's also stuff like that. That market is saturated. But I don't think there's a lot of money that can be made doing that. So I think you got to be somebody who's willing to settle for a much lower income if you're still doing it. Because in most of the metros I've seen, those incomes are going down. Kyle Wright, hopefully the Latino population can help us build housing, because obviously we haven't been able to make enough. That's true, and housing is picking up. And I don't want to sound stupid racist, but Latinos can build pretty good houses. At least from my experience in my local area, we have a large influx of Latinos in the Midwest here. And my brother works in construction, and some of the hardest working people out there, they're used to working for more for less, right? Like a lot of third world-ish countries. Mexico is arguably almost second world, but there's a lot of people coming from like other parts of Central America and South America to find a life here. And some of those people that are coming, I mean, some of them aren't great, but some of them that are coming are hardworking motherfuckers that just want opportunity. They want the American dream. There's plenty of that happening too. And the people that have come over, and some of them were illegal, but they work hard. So again, it can help, but it's rough on the lower income brackets of this country because they're the ones suffering from inflation. They're the ones that are having to headhunt against other people that are willing to work harder than them and take their jobs. So it's rough. It's like there's a lot of mixed bag there, man. So for now, Tesla should slow down production. And yeah, okay, we already talked about that. Let me see, any more that I'm missing? All right, starting to get caught up here. Is GBTC done selling Bitcoin? It's lower. It's lower. I could probably find that here. I'll find that for next week when we talk about the market recap. You can see it slowing down. James from Invest Answers has been showing a lot of that. We're getting close to that 2 hour mark, so I'm going to probably call it in a little bit here. Andrew, the one that shows you volume shelves on the right side. Okay, and number for Mac. Let's see. Jesse, today you bought PayPal option expiring 2026, but in your video you said you bought options at the strike price of 140 expiring in January 2025. Yes, I do have a bunch of that. That's an old video. So I have like I think $250,000 or 200,000, and in January 2025 is expiring at $140. I have not been buying those, Kumar, in a very long time. On X, I've been talking about that, and on the market recap. So if you're new to them, maybe you've missed that. But I have been buying January 2026 calls. And I show those at the beginning of the market recap. So if you want to see them, I can show them to you. I'll do that in the next market recap. But I've been buying January 2026s, and I think the farthest they go is like to 90 strike, I want to say. So yeah, I have not been. I'm still holding all my January 2025s. I haven't sold one of them because I think we're going to get a bounce with earnings here in the next couple of weeks. But it might not work out. And if nothing else, I'm set up really good heading into January 2026. If anybody's buying calls right now, I would not buy the shit I own from January 2025 personally. I like buying a bunch of time when it comes to options because it gives you the chance to be right. And I still think I'm going to make a bunch of money off of them. Maybe I make $1,000,000. Maybe I make 500,000. But yeah, that's it. Let's see. Wild Frenchie, have a good weekend, guys. Viva viva la baguette. Thanks, buddy. Love you. All right. All right. I think that's gonna be it, guys. I think that's gonna be it. I think I'm calling it for the day. I think I got most of the comments, so I'm gonna call it. Thank you to the people that made it a whole 2 hours in the stream. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm excited to see what happens next week. It's up or down. I'm glad I got a little bit of cash. I got about half of my original position, maybe about 45% of my cash position out of the 750. So we'll see what happens this next week. And I don't know. You guys have a great weekend. I hope you have fun. Enjoy life. Life isn't all about money and investing and working. It should be about fun too. So if you own Tesla, enjoy that 4.21%, the 420 that we're up in after hours, and just enjoy your life and spend time with your family and the people you love. Take it easy, guys, and